Imagine reading an instruction manual that explains exactly how a complex machine works, only to find a page in the middle instructing you to smash the engine with a hammer. In biblical text, we occasionally hit a theological glitch, a moment where an infallible foundational text seems to break its own rules of reality. The baseline premise of biblical theology is straightforward. God is the ultimate anchor of truth. When the divine speaks a promise, it functions as an unbreakable, eternal legal covenant. The universe is built on the reliability of that word. Yet, if you look closely at two of the most famous stories in human history, this foundational rule is shattered, and it is shattered by the divine himself. This forces us into a very uncomfortable corner. A human being is asked to pass a test of faith, where the parameters of the test break the basic laws of logic. These stories function as profound epistemological crises. We are seeing human subjects forced to navigate a reality that has suddenly stopped making sense. Look at this family tree. God promises Abraham, the covenant survives only through his son, Isaac. Genesis states, "Through Isaac shall your seed be called." Yet one chapter later, a contradiction emerges. God commands Abraham to sacrifice that exact indispensable son. The character anomaly here is staggering. Earlier in his life, Abraham fiercely debated God over the morality of destroying the city of Sodom, demanding to know if the judge of all the earth would fail to do justice. Now, faced with a command that cancels out his own future, he accepts it in complete silence. This silence traps Abraham in a logical paradox. If he believes he must kill Isaac, he marches up the mountain accepting he serves a God whose prior eternal promises were entirely empty. Conversely, if Abraham secretly assumes God is going to stop him at the last second, there is no real risk involved.
Thus, either God's word is meaningless or the test is a sham. There is no logical way out of the trap. Abraham's climb up the mountain is an entry into theological surrealism, a space where the divine word has completely detached from human logic. This exact type of surrealism repeats itself later in the text, but the scope expands from a single family to an entire nation. It happens in the immediate aftermath of the golden calf. Outraged by the Israelites' idolatry, God presents Moses with a shocking proposition. He offers to completely annihilate the Israelites on the spot and start a brand new replacement dynasty derived solely from Moses. This diagram shows the absurdity of the offer. To execute this plan, God would be tearing up the eternal contracts sworn to the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The divine oath is treated as a rough draft, ready to be crumpled and thrown away.
Unlike Abraham's silent march up the mountain, Moses handles the glitch by pushing back against the sovereign authority. Moses is forced into the role of a defense lawyer. He actively reminds an omniscient God of his own historical oaths. He argues legal precedent, saying, "Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, your servants, to whom you swore by your own self." The text presents a bizarre role reversal. The human being is the one demanding consistency and memory. The divine is the one proposing arbitrary, spontaneous destruction. Reality is threatening to rewrite itself, and Moses becomes the moral adult in the room, desperately clinging to legal precedent to hold the universe together. The alignment of these two narratives exposes a massive intentional crack in the divine-human dialogue. The challenge here is navigating an epistemological nightmare where words lose their permanence and logic collapses. By placing humanity in a reality that seemingly contradicts itself, the text relocates the burden of moral integrity from heaven down to earth. Biblical faith, in this context, exists outside the safety of a perfectly ordered, predictable universe. True faith, in its most extreme form, is about humanity fiercely maintaining its own moral compass, memory, and purpose, even at the exact moment heaven seems to have abandoned reason.